fastest show in sports.
This is a knucklehead kid that shoves Lamar, DeAndre Hopkins, and then he shoves Lamar
Well, let's
Jackson.
go ahead and bring that to it because, in case you
Yeah,
haven't seen it yet, people have not seen it. This is what happened in the game. Look inside the circle right there, and you see the guy in the red shirt reaches out and goes after helmets, and Lamar Jackson was the second. And Jackson reacted, Mike, I got news for you. I have no qualms whatsoever with what Jackson did. I don't want him punished. I don't want him suspended. I don't want him fined. Because if you're going to have these knucklehead morons who are going to come out, and you don't know what that guy's got in his hands. You have no idea of knowing what he's got, what he's pushing towards you. And there's a lot of people out there who would do damage, who would look to create a crime against these players. So if a guy jumps out like that and says something, hey, I'm all for Lamar Jackson, baby. As a matter of fact, go ahead and jump in the stands and go get him and beat the living snot out of him, and I'll give you an extra bonus.
I don't know if well, I don't advocate players going into the stands. You don't want a
Ah, come
situation
on, you
like you
know I'm
did.
being facetious.
No, no, I don't, Ed. I think you're a violent person, and I think you no. Yeah, no. I look. There was a moment when I was covering the NBA. I remember it was at the end of Charles Barkley's career. He might have been playing for Houston or something. He was ring chasing somewhere where but he was just tired of it all. And um, somebody was just ragging on Barkley, saying, I think it was like Houston versus Utah or something. And I was covering the game, doing some feature on Karl Malone or something, and I remember a fan just going, Malone's kicking your ass, Barkley. Malone's kicking your ass, Malone. And he just kept riding him. And so finally, Charles was on the bench, and it must have been the last year of his career or something. And it was in Utah, and he turned around and looked at it, and he goes, you know what? That might be true, but I'm going to kick your ass. And he gets off the bench and starts going toward the van, and all these security guards had to restrain him. I was like, oh, I would have loved to seen that
Well,
guy go
look, but
down.
you just brought this up too. We seem to be living in an era where, and again, we can't just say it's in America because a lot of international soccer events, a lot of those local events, we see amazing levels of violence.
Yeah.
But we've reached a point where the fan believes that if I buy a ticket, I can scream, I can holler, I can say you suck, I can go after your mother, your father, your children, I can verbally insult you however I want. I can go
Yeah.
right to the point. No, they do. They believe
Nothing's
they have the
nothing is
right to
off
do that.
limits.
Well, that's just it. Nothing is off limits. But at this point, why are we shocked about it? Because as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, when you go to a lot of these games, like football, let's just take college football and pro football. You're out in those lots getting lubed up for hours before the game to the point where you couldn't drive home. You're so intoxicated. Then they come in, they have no level of beers or alcohol they can buy to a certain point. They can keep going and hopscotching from kiosk to bar, and they can continue to load themselves up. These people are drunk as shit. I mean, and not only that, but the teams want them drunk. That's why they sell them all this alcohol, Mike. They make a huge fortune on it. So we shouldn't be surprised at all that they want to slam out and slap at the players, which is why if a guy goes out and goes after a player like Jackson, I have no problem with his retaliation. None at all.
Well, they do have security guards though.
Well, but the
Like
guards can't take
everybody,
care of everything.
every team has security guards. Every time, what he did wasn't egregious. He didn't go in the stands and punch the guy. Basically, get off me. I didn't have any real problem with it either. He might if he faces a fine because of some clause in which a player can't go after a fan in the stands. I can't imagine Goodell bringing down the law on this. But they did ban the guy. I think they banned the fan from any further NFL games
Right.
anywhere.
Any further NFL stadium, Super Bowl, NFL
Yeah,
sponsored activity, he's banned. Now, frankly, I'd ban this guy for life. I'd never let him inside a stadium again in his life, but I don't know if they
yeah.
have the legal right to do that.
Well, I want to say I saw a video with him. Maybe it was a phone, a parody video, but I thought I saw a video of him almost apologizing, and then getting emotional, saying he loves Josh Allen, and it looked real. The whole
Well,
thing looked
no,
real. But
that's
I
probably
I
it
get
too,
it.
Mike.
Like, yeah, you don't. Yeah, there's just some things you don't do.
But that's
And
probably part of it too. It's that adulation that they have for fans. Oh, it's my team. It's the Buffalo Bills. You're beating my
yeah,
team. I'm going to snap back at you. Will you people shut up and sit back in the seats and just enjoy the game? You're not there to be. You're not the show.
yeah,
Okay, Mike. I don't know about you, but from a broadcasting standpoint, it was the first thing I learned when I was doing games. You're not the show.
right.
And as the fans, you're not the show. But I believe they think they are the show.
I think some of them do, and I think it's like a moment to impress your guys or whatever. I get it. I get all the temptations, and you're that close to somebody. You got a ticket right down by the field. You don't put your hands on anybody. You just don't put your hands on anybody, and if you do, you suffer the consequences. And the consequences for him was not just getting shoved by Lamar Jackson, but now he's he's not going to go. He's not
He's
going to see
out.
his beloved Bills win a Super Bowl this year.
Well, I've had
Win
this
the AFC
conversation
title game.
with a friend of mine years ago, and I think it's coming true. Because fans think they're part of the action and they can get away with anything. Look, in the National Hockey League, the fans can't get on the ice because they're separated with glass panes. And that's there
Yeah.
mostly for their safety because of the speed a hockey puck travels. You would prefer that it doesn't wind up in somebody's jawline. But, Mike, I think we're getting to a point where sooner or later, in football stadiums, you're going to have to put up some kind of barriers because people can jump the barriers. You see a lot of this happen when they celebrate and they go on the field after the games. But if you have a barrier there that stops people, you can still see the game, but you
No.
cannot get to the playing field. I not only think it's inevitable, I think it's a smart thing to do.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to. Yeah,
Why
people
not?
will. Why would you? Why would you even buy a ticket if you can't get close? If you can't see unobstructed, you're not at a hockey game. You're not worried about a puck hitting you in
It
the
is
face.
unobstructed. It's through a pane of glass. You can see
It's
right
not
through
the
it.
same. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Everybody would start ordering the tickets right above the pane of glass, and the pane of and the people below. It's just it's no good,
Well,
and you'd have to
I'm
keep
not
the
saying it's a great idea, but what I'm saying is we live in a society where usually we take these actions after something happens. Now,
yeah.
here's a guy who reaches out, slaps a couple of helmets, but in the
And
in the
it's not enough to
ridiculous
like.
item that somebody's got something that becomes a violent act,
Okay,
then
yeah,
they're going to
that's
act.
different, Ed. Ed. If there was a Green Bay Packer at Lambeau Field that jumped into the stands and does the whole
That's
thing
different.
with the fans, right? Well, until one of the opposing guys dresses up as a Green Bay Packer fan and he's got a shiv and he's like, and then what's his name comes out of the all of a sudden the quarterback comes out of there and he's just he's a bloody mess. Okay, then you put the barrier up. Not until then, Ed.
Well, but
I
that's exactly what I'm saying. We usually
you're,
react when
you're trying to be
something happens.
you're trying to be proactive. You're ruining a fan experience.
Oh,
You're
that won't make it won't make a bit of difference. Won't make a bit of difference. The
your
fans will still pay whatever they
hockey has
can.
brainwashed you.
No, it hasn't brainwashed me. I'm looking at safety and what goes on in stadiums these days with these nut jobs.
That's all, folks.